question there. Right, now let us solve the 16th one. Sorry, the 16th one. Again, that is for exercise 5.3, question 16, NCERT textbook. Right? From now on, we are going to solve from the NCERT textbook here. I am reading the question that a sum of rupees 700 is to be used to give 7 cash prizes to students of a school for their overall academic performance. If each prize is rupees 20 less than its preceding price, then find the value of each of the prizes. Right? So there are here there are 7 cash prizes. Therefore, we can say that n is equals to 7 and total amount is equals to 700 rupees. Therefore, we can say that Sn equals to 700 or S7 is equals to 700. Right, because we already know the value of n. So in place of n, if I put n equals to 7, what shall I get? Sn equals to 700 or S7 is equals to 700. Right? Now what do we have is as the prices, or it is said that if each price is 20 less than its preceding price, right? That means as each price is 20 less than the preceding price, we can say that the common difference D will be minus 20. Why, friends? See that the price is less than the preceding price. So for example, if I take that the first one gets 100 rupees, then the second one will get 80, 60, 40, 20 and so on. Right? Because the next person, that means each price is 20 less than the preceding one. Preceding one, that means if we are talking about 80, then it is 20 less than 100. The preceding one, preceding to 80 is 100. Right? So the next price, that means if I am getting 100 rupees as the first prize winner, then the next second prize winner will get 20 rupees less than me. That means 80 rupees. Then the third prize winner will get 20 rupees less than the second prize. That means he will get 60 and it goes on. After that for the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th prize winners. Right? Now, for taking this, each price is rupees 20 less than the preceding price, we shall take the common difference D is equals to minus 20. So we got two terms, that is S7 equals to 700 and the common difference D is equals to minus 20. We got these two things. Now using these two, we shall find out the value of the first price so that we can easily get the remaining things. Therefore, using Sn is equals to n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into D. Let n equals to 7. We shall use n equals to 7 here. Therefore, S7 equals to 7 by 2 into 2a plus 7 minus 1 into minus 20. Right? 2a plus 7 minus 1 into minus 20. What is S7 here? That is 700 is equals to 7 by 2 into 2a plus 6 into minus 20, because 7 minus 1 is 6. Now here you can cancel 7 to 700 by 100. 2 will be multiplied here. Therefore 200 is equals to 2a minus 120, right? 2a minus 120, because 6 into minus 20, that is minus 120. Taking minus 120 here, that is 200 plus 120 is equals to 2a, that is 320 is equals to 2a, and hence a is equals to 160. So we got the first term, right? We got the first term here, that is a equals to 160. We can also call that this 160 here that we got is the first prize honor. Yes or no? It is the first prize, sorry, not honor, winner, the first prize winner. So this 160. Now we shall find out the rest of the prizes. Therefore, now the prizes are as follows. That is 160, that is the first prize winner. Second prize winner, that is 20 less than the preceding, so that is 140, 120, 100, then sorry, not 60, 80, 60 and 40. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So we got these all 7 prizes. That means first one gets 160 rupees, second one gets 140 rupees, third one gets 120, up to the seventh one gets only 40 rupees. You can add up these all and you can see that are you getting 700 or not. So 60 plus 40 is 100, 100 plus 120 and 80, that is 200, 300, 300 plus this is again 300, that is 600, and this 100 remaining is 700. So the addition of all these prices here is 700 rupees, and this is the solution of that one. Is it clear, friends? It must be clear that the prices here are in an AP which forms by the terms having a difference of minus 20, because the prices are, or each price is 20 less than its preceding one. Okay, friends? Now moving on to the next one, that is the 17th question. That is again exercise 5.3, question 17 from the NCERT textbook. Right? Exercise 5.3, question number 17 from the NCERT textbook. It is said that in a school, students thought of planting trees in and around the school to reduce air pollution. It was decided that number of trees that each section of each class will plant will be same as the class in which they are studying. That is, for example, if a student is studying in class 1, then he will plant, or the class will plant 1 tree. Then if it is a student of class 2, then that whole class will plant 2 trees, same as up to the 12th class, right? So that means the student of 12th class will plant a total of 12 trees. There are 3 sections in each class. That means 3 sections of class 1, 3 sections of class 2, 3 sections of class 3, and so on up to 3 sections of class 12. How many trees will be planted by the students? So we need to find out the total trees here. The solution goes like here: trees planted by trees planted by a section of class 1, that is equals to 1, right? Similarly, trees planted by a section of class 2, that is 2, up to trees planted by a section of class 12, that is equals to 12, right? So number of trees planted by each class is equals to the class that the students are studying in. So trees planted by class 1, that is 1, class 2, that is 2, up to class 12, that is 12. But note that friends, here this is not where the trees are planted, or this is not how much trees are planted. Again it is said in a statement that there are 3 sections of each class. We have only taken one section, that is trees planted by a section of class 1, class 2, class 12. But there are 3 sections of each. Therefore, total trees planted by 3 sections of class 1, that is 3, right? Because there are 3 sections, so one section of class 1 plants 1 tree, similarly one for the second section and one for the third section. So total class 1 students, or all the students of class 1 of all 3 sections, will plant 3 trees, yes or no? Similarly, total trees planted by 3 sections of class 2, that is 6, because one section of class 2 plants how many trees? 2. So all the 3 sections will plant 2, 2, 2, that means 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is 6. Or you can simply multiply, friends. Here if I multiply 3 by 1, that gives me 3. If I multiply 3 by 2, that gives me 6. If I multiply 3 by 12, that gives me 36, right? So this is how it goes. This is the the trees planted by one section. Now we are going to find out the trees planted by 3 sections. So this is how it goes. 3 into 1 is equals to 3. Now we shall find out 3 into 2, that is equals to 6. Okay, let me write it like this so you can clearly understand how it goes, right? Similarly, the trees planted by 3 sections of class 12, that is equals to 3 into 12, which is equals to 36, right? Now friends, you can clearly see here that whenever these trees planted by all the 3 sections of class 12 by 3 sections of class 12, that is 3 into 12, sorry, is equals to 36. So whenever we find out these all the trees planted, at that time we come to a conclusion that the AP formed is of the total trees planted by all 3 sections of each class, that is 3, 6, 9 up to 36, right? It goes like this. So the AP is formed here, that is 3, 6, 9 up to 36. Therefore we get A is equals to 3, difference D is equals to also 3, and N equals to 12, or you can find out AN or L is equals to 36. As we know, there are 12 classes, so N will be 12, and AN, that is the last term, that is equals to 36. Using SN equals to N by 2 into A plus L, because we are having the value of L, we are having N and the first term, therefore S12 is equals to 12 by 2 into A, that is 3 plus 36. So 12 by 2 is equals to 6 multiplied by 39. So that is 39 into 6. What is the answer? 39 multiplied by 6, which is equals to 234. So S12 is 234, or you can see that the total trees planted, the total trees planted is 234, right? That is the answer. The total trees planted by each section, or yes, the total trees planted by all three sections of each class from 1 to 12 is 234. So that is how it gets the answer. You need to find out the sum, friends. Note that you need to find out the sum. Don't find out the nth term here, because that will lead you to nowhere. S12 is equals to 234. Okay, friends? Good. Now, let us move on to the next one. So, for that, I need some space. So, I need to erase this questions that I have solved here. Okay, you can take out a snapshot of this. I am keeping it for 2 or 3 seconds. Okay? Friends, these all sums here are important, and that can be asked in the examination here. So I am solving each step to step, and try to solve by yourself also as per the solution that I am doing it here on the board, right? The next one here, that is again 18th one, exercise 5.3, question 18, and NCERT textbook. Okay, friends? So the question goes like that: a spiral is made up of successive semicircles with centers alternately at A and B, starting with center A of radii 0.5 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeter, 2 centimeter, and so on, as shown in the figure. What is the total length of such a spiral made of 13 successive consecutive semicircles? So let me draw a figure here as the textbook, as per the textbook. So there is a straight line. First of all, pardon me, friends, a person who is good in maths is very bad in drawing. That is the harsh reality, right? We are having 2 points here, that is A and that is B, right? Now first of all, what we are going to have is, we are going to have the first semicircle, that is from A to B, or of 0.5 centimeter. Let me again extend this on both the sides. So the first one will be here somewhat like this, of 0.5 centimeter. Then the next one will be of 0.1 centimeter. Again the next one will be of 1.5 centimeter. The next one again will be of 2 centimeter, and so on, right? So this is how the spiral is being made. You know what a spiral is. Spiral is simply a spring, right? A spring, that means the circles that are formed is not at the same place, it is going on increasing, so that is known as a spiral, right? So this is how the spiral is made here. First of all, with A as center, a semicircle is made of radius 0.5 centimeter. So the radius here is 0.5 centimeter, right? With B as center, we have made another semicircle of 1 centimeter radius. With A as center, again we have made of 1.5 centimeter. With B as center, we have made another semicircle of 2 centimeter, right? So friends, you can see that these semicircles are of different radii, starting with the first one, right? So with the first one, the spiral starts from point B, centered with point A. Okay, so we need to find out here in this question is the length of the total spiral up to 13 consecutive semicircles, up to 13 semicircles. So we shall take n is equals to 13 here, right? I have shown only 4 of them. Here I have only shown 4 of them. It goes on increasing up to the 13 semicircles. So we shall take n equals to 13 because we need 13 semicircles here. Now the length of the semicircle, simply what do you mean by length of the semicircle? Simply means the perimeter of the semicircle, the circumference of the semicircle. These all the terms are same. Length or perimeter or circumference of semicircle, right? Length of the semicircle or perimeter of the semicircle or circumference of the semicircle, all these three terminologies are same. So the formula for all these three will be same. We know the circumference of a semicircle. What is the circumference of a semicircle, friends? Pi r, right? For a circle it becomes 2 pi r. So for a semicircle it becomes pi into r. We know radius for each of these semicircles. The first semicircle has a radius 0.5 centimeter. The second one has a radius 1 centimeter. The third one has a radius 1.5, 2, 3, 2.5, 3, 3.5 and so on up to 13th semicircle. Is it clear, friends? So using the fact, using here the length of the semicircle, here the length of the semicircle is found using the formula that is equals to pi r, where r is equals to 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2 up to so on, right? So these are all the radius of the semicircles that we have drawn here. Therefore length of first semicircle, that is 0.5 pi centimeter, right? Length of second semicircle, that is 1 pi, or you can simply call it as pi centimeter. Length of third semicircle, that is 1.5 pi centimeter and so on, right? Now we know that the value of n is 13, so we need to find out the total length. Therefore the lengths here forms an AP. The length here forms an AP as, what is the AP form? That is 0.5 pi, pi, 1.5 pi, 2 pi up to so on. Rather than finding out the last term, we shall keep it as it is. Okay, friends? So this is the AP form where A is equals to 0.5 pi. The difference is again 0.5 pi, not 0.5, friends, because the lengths are in difference. The lengths are in AP. So pi minus 0.5, that will give you 0.5 pi. 1.5 pi minus pi, that is again 0.5 pi. So don't forget to write down D as 0.5 pi, and n is equals to 13 is already given, that is up to 13 semicircles. So using the formula, that is Sn is equals to n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d, right? Using this formula we can find out that is S13 is equals to 13 by 2 into 2 into 0.5 pi plus 13 minus 1 into 0.5 pi again. So that 13 cannot be divided by 2, so we will keep it as it is, 13 by 2. 2 into 0.5, that is 1 pi plus 12 into 0.5 pi. What is 1 pi? That is pi. So 13 by 2 into pi plus 6 pi. Yes or no? 12 into 0.5, that is 6. which gives me 13 by 2 into 7 pi. Now as we all know that the value of pi is 22 by 7. We shall take the value of pi as 22 by 7, so that is 13 by 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 22 by 7. So 7 7 and 2 to 22 can be cancelled by 11. So 13 into 11, which is equals to 143 centimeter. So the total length, therefore the total length of the spiral is 143 centimeter, right? The total length of the spiral is 143 centimeter. Is it clear, friends? So that is an important one for the examination point of view. Is it clear, friends? Now the rest of the two you can do it in homework, or you can also do it in the self-study from the exercise. So if you face any difficulty here, friends, then please do write down in the comment section of this video, so that if it is possible, then we shall do it in the next video, or we shall also continue with the next topic, right? Now we shall solve one more of the same kind here, that it is important and it was asked in the previous examination, that the last one of today, that is which term which term of the AP, that is given as 121, 117, 113 up to so on, is its first negative term. Which term of the AP that is given here is its first negative term, friends? Negative term, what do you mean by negative term? Which has a minus sign before the number, that is known as a negative term. Let me call it as a negative integer, right? Which has a minus sign before the number is known as a negative term. We need to find out that which term, that means the value is not to be found out, but we need to find out that n for which the term is negative. So what we are going to find out, which term, that means we are going to find out n. Here given AP, that is 121, 117, 113 and so on. So from this AP I can get two things, that is A equals to 121 and the difference is minus 4, right? I can get two things from this, D equals to minus 4 and A equals to 121. And to find first I was thinking about for finding, but that is not good. To find the first negative term, the first negative term, let an is less than 0. What do you mean by, friends, an less than 0? An, that means the nth term. We shall assume that the term that we need to find out is already less than 0, right? The term that we need to find out is already less than 0. So for that nth term less than 0, we shall find out the value of n. We know that an equals to a plus n minus 1 into d. Therefore a plus n minus 1 into d is less than 0 using this fact, right? You can say that is by 1, and here let this an is less than 0. That is the first equation for our reference. We are having a and d, put it here. Therefore 121 plus n minus 1 into minus 4 is less than 0. Therefore 121 plus, sorry, minus 4n plus 4 is less than 0. Therefore we can write it like 121 plus 4, that is 125, minus 4n less than 0, right? Therefore can I write it like 4n greater than 125? Will this be understood? Or let me write down like this. This 4n will be shifted here, that gives me 125 less than 4n. Yes or no? If I shift this minus 4n here, that will become plus 4n, right? Therefore I can say that 125 is less than 4n. Or if 125 is less than 4n, will 4n be greater than 125? Or 4n is greater than 125? Yes or no? See friends, this both the things are same. I have written it in the reverse manner. 125 less than 4n or 4n greater than 125. If I say that 2 is greater than 4, yes or no? No. 2 is less than 4 or 4 is greater than 2, right? If I write it like 2 is less than 4 or 4 greater than 2, what does this mean? It means same things, right? That means the value of 2 is less than the value of 4 or 4 is greater than 2. So 125 less than 4n or 4n greater than 125 means the same thing. So we shall use this formula, this fact here. Therefore n is greater than 125 by 4. Let me divide this 125 by 4. So that will give me, therefore n is greater than, I need the answer in decimals. Decimals, that is 31.25, right? 31.25. That means n is greater than 31.25. Therefore n is greater than 31.25, right? But this is not valid. What do we get for n? So this n we got for 31.25, what was for less than 0, that we have taken for a n less than 0. So if I take that a n equals to 0, then what I am going to get? N equals to 31.25. Is it possible, friends, that n belongs to a decimal number? No, we must get positive integer. So the valid answer here is the first next immediate positive integer after 31.25, that is 32, right? That means the next consecutive integer, the next consecutive positive integer that comes exactly after this decimal number is 32. Therefore n equals to 32 is our valid answer, because we know that the value of n is greater than 31.25. But what gives us the answer that the valid proper answer is the next positive integer after 31.25. Therefore the answer is the 32nd term of the AP is its first negative term. Which term, friends? 32nd term of the AP is its first negative term. Now for the reference, what you are going to do for me, find out A31 and A32. This will be your today's work. You will find out these two, A31 and A32 both, and check whether you are getting negative here or here. I bet you that you will get a positive value here and you will get a negative value here. You can check it out that A31 will be a positive integer and A32 will be a negative integer, and that is the final thing that you can finalize here from this question, that the 32nd term of the arithmetic progression that is given to you here is its first negative term. So friends, that's it about this chapter. So in this chapter we again discussed about the first thing, that is definition of the arithmetic progression. The second thing, that is what is a term, what is a common difference, what is the nth term of an arithmetic progression, what is the sum to nth term of the arithmetic progressions. You can find out all of these topics in the videos that we are going to upload soon on our YouTube channel. So please friends, do like, subscribe, please like, subscribe and comment on the videos. Subscribe our channel, press the bell icon so that you can get all the notifications regularly.